Hi everyone, welcome to Rishi Tarot. Today we will be asking Rishi about the outlook for the rest of 2020. So we're currently in August and we have about 1/3 of the year remaining. I feel called and compelled to do this reading today because I feel like collectively the energies really shifted around August and it's still shifting. So I'm really hopeful that the reading today will help bring some level of clarity and guidance as well as optimism, right, as to what's to come for the rest of the year. So today I will look at both career and money as well as personal and romantic relationships. So we have 4 piles for today. We have pile 1 here, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. Now you may pause the video if you have yet to select your pile, and if you have already selected your pile, please go to the timestamp in the description box down below and click on the timestamp, and then it will forward you to your reading. Okay, so once again, this is a general reading, so take only what resonates with you and take what your intuition validates. Okay, so let's begin. Hi, my pile 1, welcome to your reading. So today we will be asking Rishi, what is the next half of 2020 going to look like? Alright, so we're going to look at your career and your love life or friendship situations. With two parts to this reading. So I'm going to start with the career. So my pile 1, I see that in the past, you were doing pretty well, alright? You might have even been, a little extravagant in your spending because you were doing well, right? And then something happened that sort of really shook the foundations of your career, and there's this level of uncertainty, right? So it used to be very stable, but it's pretty unstable, right, for the first half of 2020. And so I see now at this point, my pile 1, that you have a decision to make, all right, with respect to your career. With respect to your career, it's like you have 2 choices. If you have a job, if it's a job, there might be you're thinking of switching roles, or if you're running your own business, there might be a certain turning point, right? So either way, whether you're self-employed or you're working for an institution, there is a decision to be made, and you're very much stuck in this energy right now where you don't quite know how to move forward, all right? You don't know which path to take. However, so let's move on to the second half of 2020, and I see that the energy starts shifting, all right? So I see that very soon you will have almost like a torrential amount of ideas coming out, all right? You will go through this very creative phase, all right? Soon, very soon you will get here. Maybe you start brainstorming with your friends, or, you start researching, right? So you get clear. All right, so it's almost as if you get over this decision-making process and you get to the idea generation process, right? So I see a lot of ideas coming towards you, and you start, it's like you're kind of throwing spaghettis on the wall. You don't know what sticks, right? But there is this, fury of ideas coming to you. So this is very sort of mentally productive period, where you start brainstorming and, sort of having that light bulb moment of how to move forward, okay? So I see that once you get over this brainstorming phase, you start getting worried, okay? You start worrying. But I don't see this as being necessary worry necessarily. It's like you overthink like it was good you did this overthinking on brainstorming, but you start veering off path, and it's a lot to do with how positive you are. So, our minds can be very useful, but it can also be very deceptive, right? So it's very useful when you use it appropriately for, say, brainstorming, creative ideas, etc. But when you use your mind and when you start ruminating and you start worrying, all right, is when things get sour, okay? So I see that once you pass this brainstorming phase, you start worrying. And, in a way, you have been worrying for quite some time now, right? But you start doubting sort of the decision you have made, okay? My Pawan, I want you to know that this worries that you have is not necessarily it's not even necessary. Okay, I think it's okay to be cautious. It's okay to be prudent, but there is we need to know when is enough, right? Because in life, there is a certain amount of risk taking. If you don't take risks, there will be no rewards, right? And when we are overly cautious, right, we start limiting, the options we have. Okay. Now I understand. It seems like my Pawan, you're you're a very logical person, so it's like you take calculated risk, right? And I see that you're pretty successful in the past, okay? So I want you to keep in mind that you need to sort of catch yourself, all right, when you see yourself going down this path of over worrying, because you do have the Chariot card here. It's reversed right now, but essentially what I see for you, my Pawan, is that you are kind of meant to succeed in life, all right, in Korea. Okay, with respect to Korea, I see you succeeding. All right, and what is kind of holding back you moving forward right now is this mental stress, and it's a little undue. Okay, so as you calculate the risk you are going to take in this new venture, this new direction you have decided on, keep in mind what is legitimate worry. All right, so legitimate risk versus sort of unnecessary ruminating and being overly cautious, okay? Like I said, once again, you do have the Chariot card here. It's temporarily reversed because you're kind of being held back by this overly cautious approach, right? I also see that you have some kind of distraction, and that you might not be in a very good mood to be sort of charismatic right now and confident, but I see that you have that in you, right? You are someone who have that entrepreneurial spirit, whether you realize it or not, because, I feel like my Pawan, because of your past successes, I think that objectively, you do have the skill sets, right? So you're just kind of going through this period where you're taking a somewhat new direction. All right, that's what I see, and you have spent a fair bit of time, sort of, thinking about your options here, and so as you get through this phase and you start regaining your confidence and you don't over worry, okay? And that's when things start really shifting back to balance, because things are a little unbalanced at the moment, right? With respect to your career. I see that sometimes we need an amount of faith. Whatever we do, right? Whether we are taking on an investment or a business, or there is a pinch of faith in it, right? As much as we do all the objective, logical analysis, there really comes to that one single moment where we listen to our guts and we're like, let's do it. right? So I see my pile one that what you have is more an internal process, all right? So try to it's really interesting. I wanted to get to the oracle card at the end, but you do have faith in the process. I feel like you have all the necessary skill sets to be successful, my pile one. But what is really lacking right now is some kind of faith in the process. It's very important to have that level of faith, because this faith translates to determination, right? You don't waver, right? Because when you waver, you don't really get to your end point. It's like you're a tissue paper, huh? A little wind blows and you're off course. So when you have faith is when you have determination and you stick to your plans, okay? And that's what makes a good entrepreneur, a good business person, someone with that foresight and vision. So I see that you have all of it, my pile one. So try to worry less and try to have more faith in the process. And I see things working out for you, all right? So this energy is going to run through the end of 2020. And I think after that, you will get a lot more clarity. Once again, you got pretty good cards. You're just sort of being hindered by your own emotional process at the moment. All right, so let's move on to love life. All right, my pile one. So there is two categories. Well, it's a general reading, so I will give you the broad energies, all right? So you could be attached or you could be single, but I think for the majority of my pile one, earlier in the year or maybe late last year, there was a relationship, okay? And I feel like this relationship that started early this year or late last year, you might be having this little fantasy or how things might work out. And I think that's very normal, my pile one, to I call it futurizing, where you have certain expectations or you're a little dreamy about how the future might be. However, your partner, on the other hand, he's very focused, all right? He might be very focused on his work, or he might be a little selfish, all right? He might be a little narcissistic. So that was the relationship dynamic I see. And what happened, what's happening now is that things are kind of stalling, right? It's like things are, I don't see you guys really communicating. And if you do, it might be, just a little bit here and there, but it's almost like the relationship has kind of stalled, and if you're living together, that's okay. But it's like, what used to be very dynamic and communicative, it's almost like it kind of died down, okay? So I see that the relationship has almost come to a standstill. It's like in limbo at the moment, okay? So I definitely see that you're still energetically attached. It's just that, things aren't really moving anywhere at the moment, okay? So going forward to the rest of 2020, I see that you start seeing clearly what the relationship is. It's like you both kind of started out with rose-tinted glasses. You might have this very romantic notions of how things are supposed to be, but as you go forward in 2020, you start realizing that relationship takes effort, okay? And you realize what you need to do or what the other party needs to do. And the other party is realizing that too, okay? It's like both parties are becoming aware of what it takes to sustain or maintain this relationship, okay? And this is actually a very normal process for relationships in general, because we always start out kind of, starry-eyed, right? Our heads in the clouds, we're like, oh, every day is like a rom-com movie, all right? But it's not like a rom-com movie. And so for the remaining half of 2020, reality starts sinking in. All right, you start realizing where you have to put in the effort in a relationship, and how a lot of the ideals you previously held might not apply as the relationship matures. Okay, so for the other half of 2020, what I see happening is that you both start learning. Okay, you both start learning how to give and receive. Okay, and as you start learning how to give and receive, this might be communication, or it might be little things we do for one another, our emotional needs. Okay, so there is like a whole spectrum, right, of how the categories within a relationship. So you start giving and receiving. All right, I see you both sort of coming together and working things out. All right. However, the relationship takes on a different tone at this point. So it might be in the past, it used to be sort of fun, where, we're going to, just have a date night, etc. And I think that's great, for the beginning of a relationship. But as a relationship progresses, I see that, there has to be a form of giving and receiving. All right, my part one, I'm getting a download right now that for some of you, all right, like I said, this is a general reading. For some of you, the relationship doesn't work out. Okay, for some of you, you have been overgiving. Okay, you have been overgiving. And what happens at the towards the end of 2020, the second half of it, this relationship doesn't work out. Okay, now, like I said, for a portion of my part one, okay, a smaller portion of my part one, this relationship doesn't work out. And someone in the relationship, steps out of his or her integrity, and there's a third party. Now, maybe the relationship was always kind of like an open relationship, but either way, I see that there is a possibility of a third party. Like I said, this is a general reading, so I'm trying to sort of lay out a tree diagram for you, of how things might sort of play out. If you want more clarity, definitely look at my other videos, or I'll be putting one up soon on relationship dynamics, right? Romantic relationship dynamics. So however this is going to play out, okay, there is still a theme of giving and receiving, all right, towards the end of the year, where you're asking yourself, how much do I give? Am I overgiving or am I undergiving? All right. Like I said, it can go in two directions, right? For my part one, for some of you, it might work out. And then when it does, the relationship takes on a more serious note, where both parties comes together and figure out what effort it takes to make it work. And it takes on a more mature but yet somber note. For the other category, for my part one, romantically, either you step out of line or the other party steps out of line, right? But I see sort of like a third party situation, and one or what yourself or the other party is sort of overgiving. Okay, so that's all I have for your romance outlook for 2020. Oh, one last thing. For the singles out there, I feel like sort of the same energy applies, where in the past you might have gone for, sort of unavailable men. I get that energy for my part one, for those who are single. Same thing, you do have these romantic notions and you sort of operate with these rose-tinted glasses. Like I said, it's totally okay. that's how we learn, right? That's how our relationship kind of progress. That's why we say fall in love, right? So for those who are single, I feel like you get real, right? So for the first half of 2020, you know, maybe there was a relationship, it didn't work out, and then you're single again, or you've been single for the first half of 2020, and you weren't really dating, right? For the midst of it, and that's no surprise given what's been going on in this world with the lockdowns. But in any case, for the remaining half of 2020, it's a little more hopeful, all right? So for the singles out there, what I see happening is that you get real. All right, you start getting real, you figure out what it takes within yourself to get clear on finding your Mr. Right, okay? You take off those rose-tinted glasses and you get real, okay? You're like, what do I have to work on with myself in order to meet Mr. Right? And for the second half of 2020, and towards the end actually, I see that, there are suitors coming towards you. All right, and you're pretty popular, but you're very grounded. All right, I want to make it clear there are suitors coming towards you, but you're very grounded, and you're not looking for fun. All right, you're like, I'm not really looking to just go on a date and just have fun. I want to really get to know you. Okay, I also have this just download that for those who are single, all right. The second half of 2020, well, actually sort of the last quarter of 2020, I think it's good for you to meet people in the context of charity. When we help out in a particular charity, be it an animal shelter, a homeless shelter, or some kind of altruistic organization, you might meet your significant other there. All right, so this is what I'm getting. All right, so for the singles out there, pay attention. If there's any charity group that you would love to help out in, give it a shot. You might meet your Mr. Right there. All right, that's what I'm getting. Okay, my Paul one. I will get to the general oracle guidance now. So you have Sweeping Sister Willow from the lovely Guanyin deck by Alana Fairchild. And you also have Faith in the Process, also by Alana Fairchild. I feel that my Paul one, be it in Korea, or be it in a romantic situation or lack of romantic situation as of now, there is something you need to forgive. It could be a coworker, your boss at work, or some business situation. It could be a romantic partner, as we have seen how things played out, as I mentioned earlier. There are things you have to let go. There is a emotional baggage related to being offended, related to having been the victim of a situation. And I see that you have to let go, not for the sake of that someone else, but for the sake of your own good. When we learn to forgive, is really to our own benefit. Okay, so I understand it's not easy, and that forgiveness, it doesn't happen in one go. All right, my Pawan, it happens in phases. I'm sure there are some of you where you can unload a big chunk in one moment, but for the most of us, even if we unload a big chunk of it, sometimes it still creeps up on us, right? So when you learn to let go, and I also sense that you can't be very hard on yourself, my Pawan. It's like you expect a lot out of life. And that's okay. And you might say everyone expects a lot out of life. Well, not everyone, okay? And, it's one thing to be okay to be receiving the abundance that life brings us, but it's another to have a level of expectation, right? In Buddhism, we call that craving, and that results in suffering, right? And also we realize that when we do get what we want, it's always not completely satisfactory, right? So, I also see that you you have to let go of some of the expectations in order to be more contented in life. And not to say that you lose your drive, you lose your ambition. Quite the contrary, I think it might actually improve your ambition and your, enthusiasm towards life. You're just sort of, shifting your thinking a little bit there. All right. Most importantly, my pile one, have faith in the process. You're going through a fair bit. Nothing you cannot handle. All right. Nothing that is so. Nothing that you cannot handle. So don't over ruminate in your head, be it your career or your romantic situation. We have a finite amount of energy each day, and when we are conscious of what we're thinking and how we're feeling, we can redirect that energy towards something more purposeful. Okay, and I see that you're very talented, my Pawan, and I feel that your career will straighten itself out once you get balance within yourself, all right? Because there's a level of imbalance going on here. So most importantly, have faith in the process. Very important that you trust that you're going to get somewhere. And that somewhere is going to be pretty amazing, okay? So have faith. All right, my Pawan, that's all I have for you for the rest of 2020. It's a pretty long reading, so I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please give it a like and subscribe. Thank you. Hi, my pal 2. Welcome to your reading for the second half of 2020. So we will be looking at your career as well as your love and romantic life here. There are a couple of things going on. Let me start with your career. Okay, my pal 2, you are on the right track. All right, you have the beautiful Sun card here. You have a fair bit of major arcanas. All right, you have the Temperance card and the Wheel. So very positive outlook on your career. All right, I'm going to start with that. So at the start of the year, things were you're doing well. You're doing very well, and you're in your element. Okay. I see that my pal 2, whatever you're doing in your career or your vocation, you are meant to do it, all right? It's almost like you're destined to do it, right? It's part of your destiny, and you're very much aligned, okay? I see that, and you might have a period of stagnation for the first half of the year, but then you got over it. Okay, you got over it. You got over that stagnation, and you are very much aligned. Okay, for some of my pal 2, I see that what you're doing, it's very much aligned with your sense of purpose. Okay, it's like you see the bigger picture, and you're not someone, my pal 2, who's easily influenced by the norms of society. It's like you're very clear about what you want to do, and you reach deep down in your heart and you channel that, all right? You channel that into the real world, okay? So my pal 2, first half of the year, Korea is doing very well. You're very much in your element. Whatever you're doing right now, it's very much aligned with your greater destiny, okay? Now, for the second half of the year of 2020, a couple of things, all right? The most important thing, my pal 2, you have to keep in mind is there is a greater force at work, and it's going to be good, okay? We meet the universe halfway. Right? We're not pure agency, neither are we predestined, okay? So it's a little both. However, this year, okay, 2020, it's almost like destiny is sort of has a greater hand all right, has a greater say in things, and it's good, all right? So things are going to work out very well, and you will have a greater clarity as to how your career will unfold towards the end of the year. So it takes a while to play out, all right? It takes a while to play out, but you will get a greater sense of clarity as to where your career will turn towards to. All right. So how is that? It's as if you are on the right path, but you don't have the whole picture yet. So as we get towards the end of the year, you have a clearer picture, clearer optics, all right, clearer optics of where you're headed, what you're meant to do, and a deeper purpose, okay? More than that, in addition to that, I see that there will be an opportunity, okay? There will be a change, and it presents itself as an opportunity. And this will happen sort of towards the end of the year, all right? And it's like this opportunity or this change, be it someone you meet who helps you, like sort of like a guardian, not someone like someone who is there to sort of help push you and propel you forward. You might meet this someone, or you might be presented with an offer. All right, so however this blessing is going to play out, it will happen, and it's meant to happen. So very good things are coming towards you, all right? My pal too. A couple of things you have to keep in mind of is, towards the second half of 2020, there will be a lot of options that are opening up for you before this big option, right? So this is general reading, so I don't want to get into details of timing, but there will be many options opening up for you. And there will be people coming towards you for, wanting to collaborate, okay? Now, you need to be discerning. So the energy is very good towards opportunities, but you have to be discerning. You have to be discerning which opportunity is ideal for you and which one is, unwholesome, okay? And it's very important you put on the intelligence, skepticism lens. Like, you have to be skeptical, but you have to be intelligently skeptical, okay? So you have to be very discerning. I see that... some opportunities are good. However, people get envious. All right, it is human nature after all, and you might run into some competition. Okay, not everyone is happy for you, but that happens when you shine too brightly. There's a funny saying: when you start excelling, people start spreading shit, right? So be discerning, okay? Be very discerning with who you partner up with. Some are really good, some are bad, so you need to keep an eye out. Same with opportunities. I see, my pal too, that you're a very benevolent person, so you want to help people out, but you have to be very careful who you bring on your Noah's Ark, okay? I see that you have this, it's like you're on a Noah's Ark. You are, people are drowning, but you have this lifeboat, okay? So please be very discerning of who you bring along with you. It's almost like the portal of opportunities have opened up for you. And, if you're careful enough, and it's a bit like a riddle, right? But when you pick the right opportunity, things are really going to change, all right? And things have already been very good, but things will get even better for you. Okay, there will be more that is being unveiled for the second half of 2020 and towards the end of it. But I see this, I see your career really taking off, okay, my pal too. So like I said earlier with the analogy of the lifeboat, people will start coming to you and be like, oh, help me, I want to work with you, because you're like the sun card here, you're glowing, you're in your element, you're in alignment, higher powers want to help you out, it's like you're on the right path, right? And you have to be very discerning who you take along right, on your lifeboat. And like I said, there will be many opportunities coming up, all right, for the second half of 2020. You'll meet new people, and you'll meet some who can be very helpful, and some who are not gonna work out well with you, all right? And you will start getting some envy eyes, all right? People will start becoming a little jealous of you. It might be competitors at work, co-workers, or competitors in the business, on the business side of things, right? So you can't take everybody with you on your lifeboat, okay? They have their own journey. So be very discerning. I see that you're a very helpful person. Know where your boundaries are, okay? And protect yourself. Okay, I see very good things happening for you, all right, my pal 2, in your career. So stay positive, stay hopeful, more will be revealed, and it's almost like the beauty of your destiny, your vocation will be soon revealed to you, all right? You'll get greater clarity. I want to emphasize in the oracle card that you have the perfection of your life. It's almost like I said earlier, you know, we meet the universe halfway, right? It's a combination of predestiny as well as pure agency, right? This year, and you've been operating a lot on pure agency, right? But this year, you know, especially in the second half of the year, it's almost like there's a time and place for everything. So it's like you have pure agency, and then this is where destiny starts coming in to help you, all right? To help you move towards your purpose, your destiny, what you're meant to do, and things are really going to unfold beautifully for you, my pal 2. I'm very excited. Okay, my pal 2, let's look at your romantic situation. Hold on, just take a sip of water. So, okay, my pal 2, there is 2 subcategories here. I will start with those who are currently single. Okay, so for my pal 2, I see that you just got out of that situation, all right? Most likely you broke up, all right? So once again, there's 2 categories. I'll speak for the first category. You just broke up, and you know, it wasn't an ideal relationship. It's like there is a power struggle in the relationship, and there could be some form of mental abuse, you know. So you just got out of that relationship, or you might have gone out of it a while ago, but it took you some time to sort of process things. So the first half of the year, your energy is still very much stuck in sort of this past relationship, right? So you're not really ready to meet someone new seriously, right? You're not, but you might be dating and you might be enjoying the attention you're getting, all right? So it's okay to sort of have rebound relationships, which I kind of see you having, right? A little bit of a rebound relationship. And so what's happening now is that the second half of the year, I feel like you're going to meet someone who you're going to have a lot more serious relationship with. So I know it's pretty, and it's going to be pretty sudden, right? So it's like you weren't really looking for a serious relationship, but you might be dating around, or you're just like, I'm not ready to be in a relationship again. But for the second half of the year, you end up pairing up, all right? You end up pairing up with someone, and I feel like in that relationship I see manifesting for the second half of 2020. It's going to be. We always want love and money, right? I feel like it is a relationship where like in terms of status, like you might be aligned, right? And this person could be very giving, right? However, when it comes to the emotional part of things, it gets a little tricky. I feel like either you or the other party, or both, perhaps, may have some unresolved baggage, and it can be quite an emotional relationship, all right? There's always emotions involved in a relationship, but I feel like in this upcoming relationship, it can be a little hard for one or both parties to sort of handle the emotions that arises, okay? But I do see that when you do get into this relationship, that it will be committed, right? It will be a committed relationship. I do have some warnings, however, that you might be missing out on. You might be missing out on all the details of this person. I feel like you might jump into it too soon, and you might not have full clarity as to how well you will gel with this person. You have the Seven of Swords here and a reverse Ace of Pentacles. So, I would advise caution, all right, my pal 2. I do feel like you're still going to get into this relationship, Sometimes we can get certain advice, but we still go ahead and do it. So I would say, realize that it takes a while to know somebody. Okay, you keep that in mind. It takes a while to know somebody, and I feel like not everything is being revealed to you in this relationship, all right? It's not. Don't get your hopes up on how things may work out. I think it is best you keep an open mind. So because you did start the year out with sort of leaving a bad situation. Okay, so another category that's coming out from my pal 2 is that you're getting back together with your ex, okay? That you started the year out with sort of a fair bit of argument, and you're like, oh, should we? And there might be a pause, or you might have broken up, but I see that you're getting back together, all right? My pal 2. However, there are still many things being swept under the rug, okay? So, it's like the initial problem of what has happened, whatever the underlying issues at the start of the year, it doesn't quite go away. So even though the second half of the year, things might be more committed, however, it's like there are still a lot of emotions that are unresolved. So, and there could be some level of could be a fair amount of secrets, that are not being revealed, or it's like one party in a relationship not being completely honest, okay? All right, so the last possibility for my pal 2 is for those who are in a committed relationship. I see that in the first half of the year, there was a bit of there was a bit of adjustment. It's like things got better. There was some argument, like I'm right, no, I'm right. They aren't. I don't see it being very major arguments. I see it just sort of squabbles, right? Let's call it squabbles. So for those in a committed relationship, my pal 2, I feel like the first half of the year there was a fair bit of squabbles, and you guys don't really want to dig into it because you're like, oh, I'd rather just sweep it under the rug. And things were okay, all right? So there were a fair bit of squabbles, but, you guys managed to not necessarily resolve it, but sort of like move on from it. So a fair bit was perhaps swept under the rug, right? It's like, I don't really want to deal with it. Perhaps you got your career going, so you're like, oh, all right, this is a small fight. We'll just, figure it out another time. I feel like in the second half, you start you start being more serious about how you work together as a couple, right? So I feel like with respect to money and emotions, things are starting to balance out. You know, when we're in a committed relationship, we always have to deal with issues of money, shared resources, right? So I feel like in the second half of the year, you take it more seriously, right? Be discussing about finances or each other's emotions. I feel like there is a more conventional approach to it, right? It's like, all right, how are things being done? And let's structure it. Or you might seek the guidance of, say, a marriage counselor or sort of a spiritual authority or someone you look up to, right? Like an older friend or someone who you respect. Could be the in-laws or your own parents. But things smooth out. Things start really smoothing out, all right, for the second half of 2020. For those in a committed relationship. I feel like, for my pal twos who are, married or in a long-term relationship, I don't see any significant happenings this year. What I do see is that you guys don't try not to sweep things under the rug. You know, sometimes even if the squabble is really small issue, it could be just who's taking out the trash or etc. When you deal with it and when you're very logical and you don't have the emotions coming in, you learn how to get along with each other better. All right, so it's like the friction is happening for a reason. So I would say don't sweep things under the rug. I feel that both of you have a fair bit to give to each other. For the second half, I really see both your finances and your emotions sort of really taking off. It might be possible that one party is more career focused than the other, but it's not a big deal. It's a phase, okay? So try to give and take. If someone's giving more in terms of money or resources, then perhaps the other party can chip in with, say, like, I don't know, housework or taking care of someone's emotions. It's always a give and take, right? You can't always be giving, you can't always be taking. So don't sweep your little squabbles under the rug. Try to deal with it, and I see it being very productive. All right, like I said, Pal 2, there is 2 categories for romantic relationships and how the energies will play out for the rest of the year. In general, my Pal 2, I do feel like this is more a career year for you. I always look at both career and love, but I feel like my Pal 2, the resounding message is really coming from your career. So I definitely urge you to focus on your career. Whether you're in a committed relationship, like I said, or you're in a category where you just left the relationship and you're sort of working things out and you might meet someone new, don't let this distract you, okay? Because I feel like there's a time and place for everything. And 2020 for you, my Pal 2, is definitely about your career. Okay, so if you're single and you're not really in a hurry to meet someone, try to bring the focus back towards your career, okay? Because 2020 is going to be big for you. Okay, for your career and your work. So be mindful of where you put your focus in. Okay, don't let relationships that don't really matter at the end of the day to sort of distract you from the bigger picture of where your vocation, your purpose, your life work. Don't let the small distractions, all right, of inconsequential romantic, issues cloud the bigger picture, all right, of where your career is moving towards too, because the energy is very powerful. It's very strong, all right, for your career. So I wish you all the best in your career, and I wish you discernment as well as equanimity, all right, for your relationships. And I'm very excited for you, my Pal 2. So that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this reading, give it a like and subscribe. Till we Hi, my pile 3. Welcome to your reading. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, but you've had a pretty rough year, all right, my pile 3. So I'll look at both your career as well as your personal relationships in this reading. So I'm going to start with the first half of 2020, and you probably already know this. So it's been pretty rough, all right? You've been really worried, and there was a lot of uncertainty, all right? You might have gotten into a situation where you might even have to borrow money, or start thinking about ways of how to readjust your finances, right? So it's been pretty rough with respect to career and money. And you've been trying, either look for a new job, or to get your business going, but things are moving really slowly for you, okay? Now I see my Paul 3 that you have you might have a certain standard of living that you are accustomed to, and that is no longer the case, all right? When things were better financially and at work, you start getting maybe a little too comfortable with your standard of living, right? Little luxuries in life. And now that things with respect to career and money are, not looking so good, you start, it's really time you start pruning away what I would call unnecessary expenditure. Okay, you really have to ask yourself what it is that fulfills you. Like, what is a want versus a necessity? Okay, and I feel like you're going through that process of eliminating unnecessary little luxuries in life and figuring out what it is you truly need. All right, versus what is simply a want. Okay, I think my Pal 3, there is also a subset of you where you have been in a career or you have been a job that is very self-serving, and I think that is absolutely normal in our modern society. Most of our roles and our jobs is pretty much self-serving, right? But I see that deep down, you're actually thinking of what truly fulfills you. You have the 10 of Cups right next to a reverse 9 of Cups, right? So whatever challenges you might have been going through, you start thinking, is this the right path for me? Like, the path that you have been on, is it necessarily the right path? Because you start asking what it is that truly fulfills you, okay? And this is a very important turning point, all right? So we're right now a little past the middle of the year. We're in August, and you start challenging the, certain notions in your head, in I would say your conditioning, right? You start asking yourself what it is that truly fulfills you. And I think it's very important that you get clear on this, all right, my Pal 3. And for the second half of the year, the energy starts changing, all right? But let's first address a couple of things. So you go through the second half of the year, really, looking deep within and asking what it is that that you feel confident about. What is your skill set? And you have the Magician and the Hermit card here in reversed. I feel like my pile 3, you are a natural manifester. It's like you're someone who really takes destiny. You're like the master of destiny, or at least you are meant to be, but I feel like this at this particular moment in time, you have been so dejected and somewhat disappointed with how things work out, that you have lost that level of confidence in you, right? So I would say, this magician reverse can be easily reverted, right? And, when you look at the magician upright, you start seeing that he is control of all the elements in his life, right? So I feel like what this card is trying to tell you is that once you are, in control of your willpower, your pure agency, all right, your mind, your emotions, and that's when things start working out, right? So I feel like you are someone who is capable of great things, my pile 3, and I think you know that. You have the magician here in reversed at the moment, but I feel like you will go through the second half of the year really going deep within, and I would like to point out you also have the hermit in reverse. So you go through the second half of the year really looking deep within. I feel like for some of you, you might even venture into spirituality, or if you are already on some kind of a spiritual path, that you might deepen your practice, okay? And when you start going through this deep introspection, right? It's when you discover your confidence, okay? And when you start discovering your confidence, like the saying goes, as within, so without, this internal change that you undergo will serve you for the later part of the year. Okay, so I'm going to reverse the cards again, and so you will get over your disappointment, okay? Whatever that has been challenging in the past, right? As soon as you go into this introspection, as soon as you deepen your spiritual practice, as soon as you get clear on what fulfills you, right? Then you find a confidence, okay? You find a confidence in you to be the master of your destiny. Okay, and these 2 cards here, right, and then you will flip this card around, okay? So my pile 3, I feel like, I need to emphasize this again. We meet the universe halfway. Half of it is pure agency and half of it is destiny. Or predestiny. You have it in you to go deep within, and you have it in you a lot of wisdom. You have the hermit card here, and you also have it in you to take control of your life, and I feel like this is this is like a point in your life, like a junction where you start really taking back your power. Okay, because you've been feeling powerless for quite a while, and I feel like at this point you start really taking back your power. All right, so for the second half of 2020, you get clear on what fulfills you, you regain your confidence, and you regain, you go into a deep introspection, and you gain some kind of insight, some kind of wisdom. Okay, and when these 3 things happen, all right, you get over your disappointment. Whatever that has been bugging you, whatever that has been challenging, you get over your disappointment. And when that happens, all right, we get to the best part of reading, because towards the end of the year, you have the 8 of Wands. Here, things start really speeding up, okay, in a good way. All right, so for the end of the year, I see these happening more or less towards the end of the year of 2020. I feel like if you were to take this trajectory I just laid out, things will really speed up for you at the end of the year. All right, you will have this renewed sense of determination, of fire, and opportunities will start presenting itself, right? For some of you, you might even have an opportunity overseas, right? But things really start opening up, right? You see there's a rainbow here and a rainbow here, right? So it's like you get very clear on what truly fulfills you that is also sort of others serving versus completely self-serving, right? So when you get into this mode of what serves the greater good, all right, and versus what only serves me, and you work on your confidence and you go deep within and introspect and gain the wisdom you need to get over your disappointment, which I see at the later half of 2020, and then towards the end of 2020, something is going to happen and it's going to move fast, all right? Things will start really speeding up at the end of 2020, all right? And I see you moving out of this energy, okay? I feel like you really hit an inflection point, all right, at the end of 2020. It's like things have been really kind of stalling. They're really slow, but then things really start picking up. The energy really starts shifting when you can get over the couple of issues I mentioned earlier. Okay, my pile 3, let's talk about romantic relationships. So once again, I have 2 categories. Like I said, this is a general reading. So I'm going to address both, people who are in a mature relationship and those who are not. So I'll start with those who are currently single, okay? I feel like for the most of my pile 3, you might be single, all right? So I'll start with that. I feel like you've gone over some kind of heartbreak, all right? There could be a bunch of reasons. It could be that you were hoping for something within the relationship to turn out, but it didn't. So, and it was a lot of drama. There might have been a breakup. There might have been some fights, or you received some kind of disappointing news. And so the first half of 2020 wasn't looking so good, okay, in terms of a romantic relationship for those who are single. So you start worrying. I think you spend a fair bit of time in your head for the first half of 2020. You really felt like you can't really move on from sort of this incident that happened in the past. It could be, like I said, a breakup, a big dramatic fight, but you spend the first half of 2020 sort of ruminating in that energy, and you felt like you've been the victim, okay? And you could very well be, all right? So you're very worried about how things might work out for this relationship or lack thereof. And so now we get to a point in 2020 when you really want to move on, all right? You're like, I really want to move on from this. And I feel like for the rest of 2020, in terms of romantic relationships, you're very fuzzy in your head. It's like you keep thinking in loops and you keep ruminating. And I still get this energy from the first half of 2020. And it's like you lost the desire, and there's a bit of a hole in you, like a gap. Like you don't really want to express your emotions. It's like you kind of got drained towards the end of 2020. So I feel that for you, if you're single, as I was addressing this this category earlier, I would say don't spend too much energy on your romantic life, okay? Because there's a lot going on for you in this year alone. I would say keep it to your career at the moment, because you can only juggle that many balls in the air at one time. So it will be helpful for you to take your mind off the romantic situation. All right, and then kind of keep it focused on your self-growth, okay? I feel like if you can truly move on for whatever terrible that happened in the past in terms of your romantic situation, you will have this renewed sense of confidence, right? within yourself that will sort of reverberate into your career as well. I feel like, for those in the category of my Paul 3 where a relationship didn't work out, I feel like this is really distracting you from your work and your career. So I would say, learn how to prioritize, okay? Now, for those, there's a category in my Paul 3 where you're in a long-term relationship. In this case, I feel like the first half of 2020, there might be some arguments, and there might have been one big fight, but then you got over that, right? And I feel like the worry might spill over from your career or the money situation, and you just I feel like both of you were sort of struggling between who was initially the breadwinner, and then now how the roles might have changed, and you're not, one or the other party in the marriage may not be entirely comfortable with playing a more traditional stay-at-home role versus the more I'm the breadwinner, I'm going out there. So I feel like there's this transition, okay, for those in a committed relationship. But I feel like as of mid-year where we are right now, I feel like you have really moved on, okay? So I feel like the relationship is pretty stable. And for the second half of the 2020, I feel like, it's important for you not to work together as a unit. Okay, because there's so much going on externally. This is not really the right time. This is actually the time to sort of stick together. I feel like because one or both of you in the relationship, in the long-term relationship, might be so anxious or worried about what's going on with respect to work and money that it's affecting your thinking, right? That you might get, one or both of you, like your partner or yourself, might get pretty negative, okay? And what happens is that it takes a toll, emotional toll on the relationship, but I don't see this being a very serious problem. All right, there are definitely spillovers, right? Like our career and our relationships are not completely separate, right? There's some crossovers and we have energy spilling in sometimes. I definitely think that for my Paul 3 who are in a committed relationship, don't let the negativity of what's going on externally with respect to work and money affect your mindset. Okay, because when you dwell in that negativity, it certainly doesn't help you with your work and career, and as I mentioned earlier, the things you have to focus on, but it also have implications on your relationship, okay? So try to keep a strong mind, be very firm, on how you compartmentalize work with relationship, and I feel like your relationship can get through this, okay? And when you have time, when you're with your spouse or with your long-term partner, try to do something fun, because I feel like the emotions can run a little dry towards the end of the year because of so many things happening, right? So definitely work as a unit, okay? This is the time to be cohesive in a partnership. Focus on positive thinking for both of you. Don't small little arguments, just let it go, okay? As well as try some fun things to do, sort of renew the relationship a little bit, like go on a date, night out here and there. It doesn't have to be expensive. It could be something very spontaneous, and I feel like, so that the emotional wells of the relationship can be replenished, okay? So for my oracle cards, my Pile 3, you have Dream a Beautiful Dream, all right? And I feel like things have been really rough, okay? But, there is a cycle to life, right? There is a time and place for everything. So I think it's very important for you, my Pile 3, to be hopeful, okay? I'm not saying have undue expectations, but definitely dream a beautiful dream, like this oracle card said. I think that I feel like when we are really at the depths of our suffering is when we gain the most wisdom. Okay, so don't feel like all this is happening for no reason whatsoever. You might not be the only one going through this. Situation's pretty chaotic right now, all over the world. So I feel like for my pile 3, stay positive as best as you can. I know it's difficult, all right, but that's the best you can do, all right? This reminds me a lot of the serenity prayer about what you can control and what you cannot. So try to notice your mind when it goes haywire a little bit and kind of bring it back into your heart space and know that you're capable of good things. Okay, you're capable of great things, and that life isn't always going to be the same. If anything, life is impermanent, and this situation is not always going to be like that. All right. There's also this message that right now life feels really uncertain, and you feel like you don't have this ability to fix or heal it. However, it's most important in this point in time that you find an inspiration and to be able to imagine it differently from how it currently seems to be. Okay, once again, you are a strong manifestor. You have the magician reversed here, so you are able to create that harmony in your life once you uncover this block. Okay. And that life has its own, rhythm, and that things will sort itself out. All right. So you have the power to be a positive influence in your own life. Okay, and you know exactly what you need to do. You also have from the Guanyin Oracle, Tai Chi Rising. I feel like it's very important right now for my pile 3 to undergo some form of spiritual practice. Like I said, a lot of suffering happens for us to gain wisdom, okay? Things really don't happen for no reason. So you have to make use of this opportunity, milk it for what it is. So I feel like the best thing you can do is to get into some form of spiritual practice. I feel like there is rising wisdom within you that, when you break down is when you get that breakthrough. So, there are many modalities out there. Obviously, Tai Chi is one of them, but you can do yoga or you can do just secular mindful meditation. There's so many options out there, but I do feel like you might want to look for a modality that is more body centric, right? So it's like a more dynamic form of meditation. There are various options. There is the Osho dynamic meditation. There's Tai Chi, there's yoga. So try to do something that moves your body, okay? If you're not into spirituality right now, I highly recommend you start doing your research, okay? Because this is really going to help propel you forward, all right? And clear out all of this energy, all right? Okay, my pile 3, that is all I have for you today. I hope this reading has brought you some level of clarity and guidance. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Hi, my pile 4. Welcome to your reading for the second half of 2020. So we're going to look at a couple of things today. We're going to have your career and money outlook for the rest of 2020, as well as personal romantic relationships for the rest of 2020. Okay? So let's start by saying that things are going to get better. Okay, and things are, 2020 is going to be quite a good year for you, all right, my pile 4. So let's start with the first half of the year for career and money. I feel like you had an idea of a new opportunity, all right, or a new direction in your career or your work, but it didn't start up immediately for the first half of 2020, okay? It's as if you had some kind of inspiration or some kind of faith, right? A deep faith within of which direction to go towards to, okay? But you might have lacked some kind of structure, all right, as to how to move forward. Okay, so this is for the first category of people, all right? These are more the entrepreneur, the selfpreneur, the sort of, kind of doing your own business, all right? So I feel like for this category of my PAL 4, you started out the year, having this idea of what to do. And, you have some pretty big major arcanas here. So it's as if what you plan to do it's a higher calling, okay? You found your purpose, all right? But you weren't so sure how to go about it. So even though you have identified the path, it's like you're still restructuring, okay? You're still trying to figure out how to move forward. But you've done the first part of it, right? So it's like it has to move in phases, and you've got the first part down, which is which direction do I head towards? What is the purpose? What is my purpose? What brings me the greatest joy, and what am I meant to do in this world? Okay, so for the other category of my PAL 4, where you are, in an institution, be it, you might work for a bank or some big corporation, you might have felt like, you have missed out on certain opportunities, right? Because maybe your boss was being unfair to you, or certain things are happening where you felt like, you missed out on an opportunity that should have been yours. All right, so 2 categories for my PAL 4. All right, self-employed versus those who are in an institution. All right, so let's get to your current energies and what happens moving forward. Okay, so right now you may feel, my PAL 4, that financially things are a little unstable. All right, be it financial or money. All right, so you feel like you're not feeling stable right now, all right? Either you have a job and you feel like, I don't know if I can stay on in this job, or if you're a business entrepreneur, you feel uncertain. And it's true, things may be very uncertain at the moment, but you're gonna get over it. Because the energy for the rest of the 2020, it's gonna change, all right? So you will get to a point, and I see this happening sort of maybe the third quarter of 2020. Once again, this is a general reading, all right? But I definitely see this happening sort of the third quarter towards the end of 2020. And things start really shifting, okay? You start getting really confident in what you do, okay? And the money starts coming in. Okay, so if you are in, self-employed, you run your own business, and you have this idea of which direction you want to move towards to, and you know how things were a little stagnant and a little unstable as it is right now, or it was the past couple of months. Okay, money starts coming in, all right? You start getting new prospects, you start getting new clients, whatever it is you're doing, things will start getting a momentum. You have the very beautiful 9 of Pentacles and 7 Pentacles together here. So whatever hard work you put in at the beginning of the year really starts paying off. Okay, so even though things may be a little shaky right now, things will really start working out. All right, I see around the third quarter of 2020 towards the end of 2020. So don't give up, all right? Things will start really looking really good. So put in the hard work. You're going to reap the results, and, you will start gaining this level of confidence and credibility in what you do, okay? Now, if you're in a category where you're employed in an institution and you felt like, all right, the first half of the year was, a little tricky, you might have some issues with your boss, higher management, felt like you were passed out of an opportunity. Things may, still be a little shaky right now and unstable. However, for the second half of the year, you start being acknowledged, okay? It's like you start being valued and acknowledged for what you're doing in your contribution, okay? However, all right, for those who are employed, all right, for those who are employed, you still feel like there's something incomplete. Okay, there's something incomplete, and there is a possibility, all right, for my PAL 4, whom you're currently employed in an institution, where you feel like you might want to head out and start your own thing. Okay, you might feel like you want to head out and start your own thing because you feel like whatever you've been doing in your current workplace, it is not the it's not going to be the epitome of your life's work. And there is an epitome of your life work because we have the world card here. In fact, we have the world card twice in my PAL 4. There are a lot of repetitive cards, all right? You also have the Four of Pentacles twice. So what I'm trying to get at my PAL 4, regardless of whether you're employed in an institution now or you're running your own business, you're an entrepreneur, either way, my PAL 4, the energy really starts shifting towards the end of the year, okay? You start gaining a level of credibility, you start gaining a level of influence, you know, your previous hard work starts paying off. So don't give up, keep working hard, okay? Because it's gonna start paying off towards the end of the year. And even though we have the world card in reverse here, I feel like for my PAL 4, what it's saying is you are on track. Okay, you are on track. You are on the right path in your career. You know, you may have a slight deviation where like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing, but you are sort of in the same bigger category of things. You are on the right track. Now, why this card, the world card, is reversed right now? It's because 2020 isn't a conclusion, right? 2020 is just a base. So it's like you get a glimmer of what you're meant to do, okay? A certain project, whatsoever, and you start working on it, all right? Or you start getting an idea of how you might rise in your institution. So you're not completely there yet, but you get some kind of insight as to how to work towards that. So overall, my PAL 4, your work, career, money towards the end of 2020, it starts improving. Okay, whether you're self-made entrepreneur, you are working in an institution and you want to do your own thing, or you stay on an institution, things really start getting better. Okay, and you have the beautiful King of Wands here, and I feel like my PAL 4, you guys are kind of made for success. You are you're very determined people, and you're very good at what you do, and you also have this leadership quality. And I think most importantly, my PAL 4, you guys have that entrepreneurial spirit, okay? You have leadership qualities and you have this entrepreneurial spirit. And whether you're in the institution or you are you do your own business, your ability to figure out opportunities is a very good skill set. So I see what's happening towards the end of the year is you get more confident, all right? So the energy really starts shifting. You move away from this, oh, I don't know if this is the right way. You like structure, you like this clarity, and you have this instability. Things really start ramping up. Okay, my PAL 4. And for some of you, like I said, you have the world card twice. You know, I feel like for some of you, you might be well on your way. Like I said, you're on the right path towards accomplishing your life's work. Okay, your life's achievement. So even though you don't see it being completed in 2020, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be quite a journey, right? But you start getting a glimmer of what that might be, okay? So be very hopeful for your career. Now, let's talk about relationships, okay? So for my PAL 4, relationships, the energy really shifts too. So I feel like my PAL 4, whatever you're doing, you're doing it right, okay? Because I feel like you're really growing this year. It's like 2020 is your year, all right? And you're at an inflection point now. Okay, so let's start with relationships at the first half of the year. So for those of my Pal 4 who are in a relationship, be it you might be committed, a long-term relationship. Either way, I feel like the first half of 2020, there was a little bit of argument. You might be getting a bit heated, but I see you guys getting over it. Okay, it's like there is a level of forgiveness. Maybe you guys disagree on certain things, and there was this argument, and maybe one person was, a little more defiant, and there was some tantrums being thrown around. But I see you getting over it, and you or your partner or both of you have gone through this introspective phase. Okay, you've gone through this introspective phase and you're like, what am I learning from this? What is this relationship mirroring about me? What are my blind spots? Okay, how can we do better? All right, what can we take away with this? Right? So you're asking all the right questions, my Pal 4, and you're learning what you're meant to learn in your relationship. And then you get over it. So you're at this point now where we have the Wheel of Fortune here, where your destiny starts shifting, all right, for the better, okay? And for the second half of 2020, I see that, home life gets more stable. Once again, you have the Four of Pentacles, and this time it is upright, and you also have the World card upright. So I feel like for those in a committed relationship, my Pal 4, for the second half of 2020, romantic relationships are going to get a whole lot better. It's going to get a whole lot more stable. It's as if, you have made a big shift. I mean, you have 3 really big major arcana cards here. You have the Hermit, you have the Wheel of Fortune, and you have the World card, right, for your romantic life. So I feel like whatever past lessons or challenges you might have encountered or felt like you had to learn, you have done a great job, my Pal 4, all right? You have overcome the lessons, the challenges that is holding you back in having a fulfilling romantic relationships. You have, learned those lessons. And it's like life is shifting, because we meet the universe halfway, right? There's the predestiny of how things should be, which is a compound, it's really a compounded way of our tendencies, right? So whatever our conditioning, our upbringing is, it affects how we interact in our relationship. But what I see, my Pal 4, is that you have learned that lesson. Like the first half of 2020 was like a consolidation of those lessons. We all have baggages, emotional baggages from our childhood that we bring on to, and then, we throw it on our spouse or our partners, right? But what I see is that you have done an amazing job, all right? An amazing job, my Pal 4, in, learning the lessons you need to learn, looking at your blind spots, and, having that humility to do better, to be like, no, I can do better. I can move on. I can heal. I can get over my past conditioning. And when you start doing that, that's when you get the Wheel of Fortune here. See how beautifully you have the Hermit that transitions to the Wheel of Fortune? All right. So the universe meets you halfway. Okay. And when you, I feel like you really learn your lessons. And then what happens next is really beautiful because you start having a lot more stability in your home life. You also have the Pentacles. I feel like either your partner and yourself, because we spoke about your career earlier being, sort of really taking off towards the end of 2020. I feel like home life in general becomes more stable, financially, emotionally, and just in general, all right? And we have the beautiful World card again. My Pal 4, you have it repeated twice, okay? So I feel like my Pal 4, this is really the year of endings and beginnings for you. But I see very beautiful beginnings, okay? And I see that things start really paying off. Okay, my Pal 4, you're someone who has been working on herself or himself for quite some time. Okay, be you're in your career, or your emotions and your spirituality. I feel like in the past you might have felt like you're a victim of life. Where why is this happening to me? Why is life doing this to me? Why is this person doing this to me? And you have shifted. It's like 2020 is the end of the end and the beginning of something completely new for you. And I feel like you earn it. And I want to really emphasize this. You truly earn it, my pal 4. You went from having that why is the world doing this to me mindset to now, how can I be the master of my destiny? Okay? Because you have this beautiful oracle card saying, be the hunter, not the hunted. And I feel like this is not necessarily an advice for you. I feel like this oracle card is coming to you as an acknowledgement that you have done the good work. Okay? Now, I'm sure, there's still a little clearing. Like I said, this is a general reading. But I would say congratulations, my pal 4. I will shake your cyber invisible hand right now because you have done a really good job. Okay? And your life is really shifting at this point in time. I don't know if you sense it, but you're beginning to glow. Okay? It's like you're really taking back your power. And you're really in your power now. You don't feel as powerless as you used to be. So 2020 has been a really productive year for you, okay? And it will just keep getting better. So stay on track, all right? Stay on track and remember that, when you get clear on what's inside of you, things outside starts happening, and you start having that meta effect where like I said, as within so without, right? So you've done a fair bit of internal work and things are really starting to show. Okay, and you also have the shining lotus here, my pile 4, for your oracle card. I feel that because you may not be used to being in the spotlight, okay, but because things are getting good for you. Like things are getting better for you. Like your life is on the right path very clearly. And I feel like the other advice is not so much advice, but more like a suggestion. Is like you might be a source of inspiration for people, for your friends and your family, because not everyone is on the same page. And, we're all travelers in this journey of life. So I feel like, it could be helpful for you to lend a helping hand here and there, be a listening ear to those who might be in need, and sort of set an example, okay? Because you have done well, and I feel like, life, universe, destiny might require you to be like a role model. Like it may not happen right now where you're playing the role model, but it might happen a little later, all right? So, I really only have good things to say to you, my pal 4. You really got one of the best pals. I feel like you truly did a lot of internal spiritual work because things are really working out for you. For the first half of the year, the energy might be a little unstable, all right? Be it at work or in romantic relationships. But, this August, all right, I feel like things really start shifting. All right, mid-year, and we're around there right now. And towards the last quarter, and towards the end of the year, life will really take on a different tone. And I feel like it's not going to be unexpected, because it's almost like you've always been on a linear progression. Okay, so things will start getting better, and I really want you to know, my pal 4, that you have earned it. Okay, so stay hopeful, stay determined, and keep up the good work. Okay, we're always figuring out new things about ourselves, and really spirituality, it's something that is ongoing. It's something we incorporate in our daily life. There's this word that I would really like to share with you, and it's called praxis, okay? Praxis. It's, a simpler term for it would be full embodiment. Okay, it's like when you really get the essence of something, a spiritual way of living. It really resonates on all levels of your life, right? You really embody, you walk the talk, right? So praxis would be equivalent to, walking the talk, like really putting things into practice, right? So I feel like, it is obviously an ongoing journey, into how we embody the essence of our spiritual teachings and how we really empower ourselves and empower others, right? So I feel like, my call for you are on that journey, all right? And then this ongoing praxis, right, is this embodiment of essence is something for you to keep in mind. All right, as you journey along, as your life starts really improving, I would say continue with your spiritual practice, continue with whatever has got you to this point. Obviously, things might change a little along the way. This is general reading, but stay true to yourself. Stay in your power, all right, and know that you're doing things right. Okay, and I think the universe is very proud of you, all right? So I feel like that's all I have for my pile 4 for today. If you enjoy this reading, please give it a like and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in.